Hi everybody, TSW here, and in this video I'm going to be covering what add-ons I use and going through what they do, what they are, and a few thoughts about them as well. I initially recorded this video and it lasted over an hour, I'm not even joking, so I'm going to try and cover things in a lot less detail, because damn, I doubt if anyone wants to watch a video of me talking about add-ons for an hour. That's way too much TSW for anybody, I'm sure. So the first add-on I'm going to talk about is Add-on Control Panel. This is a fantastic add-on because you can turn on and off add-ons on the fly without logging out and reloading the game. It's really convenient. So just type ACP into the chat box, smash enter, and you'll be given this interface with every add-on that you have in your folder. So it's really nice. You just tick and untick what you want to enable and disable and then hit reload UI, and it just reloads your UI and bam, the add-on is either enabled or disabled. You can also have different sets, so you can say you want certain add-ons enabled for PvP and other add-ons for PvE or whatever else. You can just have the set and then reload UI and bam, you have it. It's really good add-on. Okay, so that's a great add-on to start off with. The second add-on is going to be Impulse Booster, and this is a phenomenal add-on. So it's right off the bat, starting with two of my favourite add-ons. And what Impulse Booster does is it dramatically increases the loading screen of WoW. It does depend on the hardware that you're using. I know some people that I've played with in the past had little to no effect on their loading screens, but for me it was night and day. It's the same difference between going from a conventional hard drive, having your WoW load on that, and having it load on an SSD. It's bam! Wow, it loads really fast using Impulse Booster. It also increases your FPS, potentially. Like for example, if I'm streaming, my game will tend to go around to about 30 FPS, which is, you know, it is what it is. But when I have Impulse Booster enabled, my FPS is much higher. It's about 60 FPS when I'm streaming, and it is such a nice, it just like doubles the performance of my game, or my FPS at least, and I can barely tell that I'm streaming. Based on the feedback I get from playing the game, which is phenomenal. It's really good add-on. I suggest you enable it. If you have lots of cores on your CPU, the add-on I think works a lot better, and you'll get better results because that's what it's utilising more. But I mean, even if you have a crappy computer with like 1 or 2 cores, I think you may be able to get some kind of performance increase. But download it and try it for your own sake, and because I mean, dude, you get free performance just by having an add-on enabled. Why wouldn't anyone try to have it at least? Because for me it made a really big difference. I have 6 cores on my CPU, so I don't know if that makes a big difference, but I mean, as far as I know, it utilises cores, so yeah, that's maybe why I get a big boost in performance. Next is Afflicted 2. This is a PvP timer cooldown mod. So you can see the the timers for different things. I don't really PvP on this character, so it's not enabled. Next we have Align, which is a really cool add-on for when you're configuring your add-on. So if I type /align, you see a grid. You can insert different values, like if I do /grid align 256, you get a much denser populated box grid. And that's cool. So if you're wanting to line up your character frame, for example, you can use the add-on to do that. We have Aloft, which is an add-on for showing nameplates. So if I find myself a mob with a nameplate, you can see that the frog has a nameplate. It's yellow because it's neutral, and this needler has a red one because it's hostile. You can see the level, you can see the name, blah blah blah, lots of cool stuff. Next add-on we have is Arena Unit Frames. Guess what? It shows you unit frames. Where? When you're in Arena. Cool add-on. Next we have Atlasloot, which is an add-on that I'm sure most people know. It's a very popular one. You can choose what to show in the table. Alchemy, let's see what you can learn as a Master Alchemist. Oh, look at all these cool things. Wow, look at that, transmute primal fire to earth. Let's link it. Wow, it's really interesting. We also have the wish list. You can alt-click any item in Atlasloot and it'll be loaded into the wish list, or you can alt-click to remove it. You can also add things to their quick look, 1 to 4, and when you click on it you'll see the different things. You can also use the search box. If I type in armor, hit enter, we can see everything that has armor in the name. Cool. Or you can search for things specifically by their entire name. Bartender 4, that's an add-on for configuring your bars. I don't have it enabled. People often ask what bar add-on I'm using. I'm not using any, but I'll get on to why it looks different in a little bit. Next we have Big Wigs. Big Wigs is amazing. It's a boss mod add-on. You may have heard of Deadly Boss mods, and Big Wigs is basically, it does the same thing, but the timers generally are a little bit better, at least for the TBC servers that I've played on in the past. You can see that they're all enabled for various dungeons, as well as common auras, which is a very important one, particularly if you're wanting to really perform well in raids. It will show cooldowns of things like Bloodlust and Innovates, Shield Walls, and it will make it so much nicer when raiding, because you can call people for their specific Bloodlusts and know when they're on cooldown, and you know, rob other druids' Innovates because you'll know when they're available. And yeah, a great add-on, right, it's insane. Button Facade, that just changes the way that buttons look. You can use it in conjunction with add-ons like Bartender, or add-ons like my buff add-on called Citrina Buff Frames. You can just change the way the icons look, basically. Call of Elements is an add-on I use on my Shaman. It basically just shows you the 4 types of totem, and you can click on the specific totem of that kind. Carbonite Quest is a really cool mod, but I have it disabled basically all the time. And it's the add-on here that shows you the map, as well as highlights areas where you can do quests. It's really nice because a lot of the time, if you're looking up where to do a quest, you'll either find a coordinate to follow on Wowhead, for example, if that's where you're finding where to do the quest, or they'll tell you that it's, you know, east of wherever. And this add-on actually shows you the specific region where the mobs are that drop the quest item, or where you do the quest. And as you can see here, for example, there are 2 areas where I can complete this quest, and it's really, really overpowered being able to find all the areas where you can complete the quest, not just one small section that is maybe described in the quest log. These are the battlegrounds just being thrown in the middle of the zone because I presume they need to be displayed somewhere. I'm not really on the best character because I don't really have many quests, but this one's inside an instance, so you just have the icon outside the instance entrance, and this one I can get the power crystals all around the zone, so they're just highlighted all over. It's a really powerful add-on, as well as it gives you a really cool little mini-map. So here's the map. You can see all of Outland, you can zoom in. So if you don't like the standard mini-map, you can use this as your mini-map and just run around and see where you need to go for your quest, because you can't zoom out that much on the default map layout. And this one, I mean, you can you can see all of the flipping game if you want, or you can zoom in really close. It's also nice if you're following a route for gathering professions, because a lot of the time when I am following a route that I've maybe found online, it will display the map like this. It won't display the map in the minimap, which is different. For example, there's a mushroom shown on Carbonite here, but there's actually, it's not synced up with the big mushroom here. So for example, I'm now on top of the big mushroom on the map here. You can't really see it, but yeah, that's a mushroom, whereas on the minimap here I'm offset, so the big mushroom is here, whereas it's offset on the world map. So this is the world map, and this is the minimap map. So yeah, it's slightly different. Okay, well, enough of Carbonite. One thing I don't like about Carbonite is it does have some features that limit what you can do. It's a very powerful add-on, it shows you a lot of cool things, but one thing it will stop you from doing, and there's maybe a way to configure it so it stops this, but what I hate is when I'm in a raid, it will stop me from being able to change people in groups, as well as open up my raid frame during raids, I think, and opening my spellbook during raids. That's a bit annoying. Next we have Cartographer. It's just a map add-on. It shows you the map and shows you all the zones and whatever. It's a cool add-on, but I don't use it because I know where everything is really. Next we have RP Go character profile. This is what I use for a program called Raw. You can hit save here and it will save the information about your character and what items they have, so that you can, what I do at least, is import the file into RAW and be able to see how to optimize my character in various ways. Don't worry about this add-on ever unless you're using a program that specifically requires you to use it. Next we have class colored nameplates, which basically changes the nameplate color. As you see, it's red. It will change it to, what if this guy's a warrior, it'll change it to the warrior brown. That's the name of the color. I forgot the word for brown for a minute. Next we have Deadly Boss Mods, which is basically like Big Wigs. I prefer Big Wigs. It's a boss time add-on. Yeah, it's cool. Next we have Debuff Filter. So if I type in D-Filter, I bring up the interface, and we can see that I have a lot of different debuffs tracked for the target. So if I go down to, you can also change it to, player. So if you have buffs or debuffs, you can track them more easily. So if I go down here, I use Thunderclap, it tracks it down here, and if I use Demo Shout, it tracks it down here as well. So that's cool. I also have this add-on that you can see my Blood Rage, my Shouts, and my personal debuffs. This add-on is called Class Timers, and it doesn't show up on ACP for whatever reason. You have to actually log out to enable and disable this add-on. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But Class Timers is a really cool add-on as well. If you're playing like a Shadow Priest or whatever, I've heard an add-on called Face Melter, which apparently is very good. I haven't used it yet, but I just use Class Timers for keeping an eye on things like timers for shouts and whatnot. But Debuff Filter I use for tracking other people's timers. So for example, if I want people to, if I want to see when Fairy Fire is on the target, I can see it on the bottom here with D-Filter, for example. It's really nice. And if people aren't using Cursive Recklessness, I can shout on TeamSpeak, get Cursive Recklessness on the boss, please. Next we have Diamond Threat Meter, which is a threat meter. I personally use Omen 2, but Diamond Threat Meter does the same, and depending on what private server you're on, certain threat meters are better than others. So it's always nice if you're playing a variety of servers, or just to experiment to see which threat meter works best for you and your guild. Next is Dominos. It's an add-on much like Bartender, where you can change the look and layout of your action bars. Next we have DPS Mate, which is this add-on here. Now a lot of people use Recount, and this is a add-on that just froze my game when I dragged it, which is nice. It's a port from a vanilla DPS meter as far as I know. It also has a client that you can download to log the damage and a few other things for the encounter. But it's a really powerful add-on. I do prefer it to Recount. I've only used it for a few days and I haven't been able to log things correctly. I'm not sure why, but basically it shows you a whole host of really cool information, and I mean it does 90% of what Recount does, but it has it in a little bit of a nicer display, I think. So I can look at certain things like Last Stand, apparently is a proc. So this is for the entire, so apparently, what is that, the duration that I had Last Stand on or something? I'm not sure. But I can show current fight. So what was I doing in my current fight? Attacking, shield slamming, threat striking. Shield slam I hit once and it just hit twice without critting or whatever. Oh, I got a crit for 50% of the time with threat strike, and it shows you my graph of damage, as well as things like fails if you're taking extra damage, CC breakers. Let me have a look at here. Let me see total. So I did a couple of ghouls layer, or one ghouls layer here, and according to this, we had nobody breaking CC. I find that kind of hard to believe. But if I go to procs, wrong one. That was Aura's lost. Let's look at Aura uptime. So what was my Aura uptime like? So we have Prayer Fortitude, which was up 64% of the time, which is nice. Arcane Brilliance, which was up a lot of the time. And then somewhere down the line there'll be the actual shouts. Because these don't last that long, and I don't know if it counts out of combat, but yeah, I mean, what was my lowest? I had Fortitude for 0 seconds, and an aspect of the pack for 0 seconds as well. Okay. Shield Wall for 10 seconds. That's cool. So basically, and it also things like Unbreakable procs or Speed Potions. It's a very powerful add-on. Anyway, I've spoken about this add-on too much. Like I say, it's lagging again when I'm dragging it around. There's a website called legacy-logs.com, which is the back end, if you like, where you can search for your realm. For example, if I go to Kronos 2 and then search. Okay, apparently I can't search just for Kronos 2. Okay, so if I go to raids on TBC, I can see various raids and have a look at what people are performing like. So if we click on Black Temple here, it'll take me to their Black Temple, and we can see, you know, who's doing damage. So someone's doing 1.4k DPS. Cool. If I click on them, I should be able to go to their Armory somewhere. Oh, so these are the attacks that they did. Blah 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 blah, and there should be a. Am I failing here? Oh, I can compare. That's cool. So there should be like an Armory link that I can click on, and it'll take me to the Armory for that person. Oh, here we go. So I'm on this person, their overview of their recent kills. I can click on the Armory, and it'll show you their Armory. There's also an add-on for the Armory add-on, so it basically scans people and uploads them to that website, which is really cool because there isn't obviously an Armory for every private server. So enough of that. Elkanos Buf Bar is a really bad buff add-on, which is why it's not enabled, and I just haven't removed the folder, so it's still here. So you can see why initially it took me an hour to record this video. Examiner is a really cool add-on, so if I target myself and inspect, I can see some stats. It does not include talents, so you might see somebody and be like, oh my god, their spell damage is really freaking low. It's because it doesn't include talents. You can see things like their character, their gear. You can also go to cache and search for people. Like if I want to look at my friend Soldo, click on here and I can see all the items that he has, as well as the stats, again without the talents. See his resistances, I think. See how long it was since, they were last scanned, which was Tuesday 27th of September. So that's a really cool add-on. Next we have Focus Frame, which is just a simple /focus add-on. I don't use it. Gladdy, which is a unit frame for arena add-on I don't use because I'm PvE on this character. Grid, which is the display of my raid frames down here on the right. And Grid mana bars. Please, if you're doing any kind of PvE content, get Grid mana bars because it speeds up your raid so much. Being able to see, from my point of view at least, as a tank, seeing the mana of my healers is insanely valuable, because if they're low on mana, I am not going to continue pulling in the instance, but if they have full mana bars, yes, I'm going to dive straight into the next pack. So you can see here it shows rage. My rage is nearly full, and it also displays everyone's resource bar, like energy and mana and so forth, which is really handy. Next we have Group Calendar, which is just a calendar built in. Some guilds have it as a requirement because that's how you sign up for raids for those guilds. I've been in a guild where it's been used, so that's why I have it, although I don't have it enabled because we don't use it currently. O Matic, this is a really freaking good add-on. Basically you can change people in the raid frame and have them pre-assigned to go into what groups. It's cool, I love it, although I don't use it. Head count is a good add-on. Let me type in head count GUI. Is that what I need to type in? Yes, sweet. So we see Ghoul's Lair. We see all the people who are present on Ghoul's Lair, 24 people. I can click on the loot and see what dropped. I can click on, see who was where. Click on who was specifically there for the fight, as opposed to who was there in the raid. And we can, go to Black Temple, see who was present, 33 members in total. Go to specific bosses, Illidan. Here are the 25 people who were here for Illidan. Click on the loot and we can see, yes, another set of another week and another no glaives. But at least we got Skull of Gul'dan that week, which was cool. So that's a really cool add-on. You can kind of just have it logging in the background, who's here for what raids. Let's go back to ACP and go for some more add-ons. Next we have Icicle, which is basically enemy cooldown over their nameplates, which would look something like this. Say this is a person and I have the add-on enabled obviously, and this person just used Hammer of Justice. I would then see a Hammer of Justice icon ticking down showing me the time remaining on their cooldown, which is really good for PvP obviously. Next is Juked, which shows you, as the tooltip here says, tracks interrupts and important cooldowns. So say for example a priest uses their psychic scream, it will show you the remaining duration of their psychic scream. A lot of the time when it's available again you'll see it, and when they run towards you you can spread out so you don't all get feared and fail. It's a cool add-on for PvP obviously. Kgpanels, that's the add-on that provides me with this random black box here. I just use it as a background for my DPS meter, so I can just drag it to size and it can just be sat there. You can also import your own textures and have your add-on, your UI look really cool. So say for example you wanted, I don't know, a custom texture for the back of your chat box, or you wanted you wanted these action bars to have different icons when they're empty, or if you basically wanted to put any texture anywhere, you can basically do it. So if I wanted to have a texture on my cast bar which is currently empty, I could put something there when I'm not casting, for example. You can just put textures anywhere, put media anywhere, have My Little Pony whenever I cast a spell or whatever. You can, it's really amazing. The possibilities are pretty much endless. And then you've got obviously the config side of it as well. We've got Legacy Logs Armory, which is basically the Armory side of for this website, which I'm trying out at the moment, which is cool. Mappy, which is a map add-on, not the one I'm currently using. We have Minimap Button Bag, which basically you see all the different add-ons which have all been clustered around my minimap. I can enable this add-on. Let's enable it now for shits and giggles. Let's reload the UI, which is what you need to do to enable the add-on. So normally what I would have to do is log out of the game, go to the add-on section on the login screen or the character selection screen, sort the add-ons out how I like, which ones to turn on, which ones to turn off, and then log in again. With this I haven't actually left the game, I've just done a reload UI. Oh, so here we see all my crap has disappeared and now all I have is this one thing, and when I left click on it I see all the crap. So I can just drag it into this side and then it makes my minimap look way cleaner. It'd be nice if I could just take it off the side a bit. Can I do this? Max buttons, Alt expand to... So it looks like I'm going to be stuck with it displaying. But I don't know, maybe I could change it somehow. But anyway, it looks a lot cleaner. Okay, whatever, I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't know why I had it disabled. I think it may be conflicted with another add-on at some point. But I mean, it looks okay for now. So where were we? Minimap Button Bag. So mob info. that's a cool add-on that kind of like scans for rare mobs, I think is what it does. It also provides some extra information about various mobs, but I think it was either crashing or conflicting with other add-ons, and I wasn't really making the most out of the add-ons, so I disabled it. So what's next? Where were we? Mob Info 2, there we go. Or Mob Info. Omen 2, that's the add-on that shows me my threat meter. I'll show you quickly. If I get in combat with this guy, it shows me my name and that I need 10% more aggro than me in order to put aggro, which isn't going to happen because I'm me. It shows me my threat per second as well as my total threat, and then the 10% extra value that is needed to pull threat. It's 10% extra for melee, and it's 30% extra for ranged, just to keep that in mind. So that's Omen. Next we have Omni CC. This add-on I really love. Oh crap, why did I click reload UI? Okay, so now we're just going to sit through the UI reloading itself. So Omni CC is a great add-on. I find it bizarre that anyone, it's one of the add-ons that when you have it installed you'll never go back to not using it. So if I use Shield Slam with a 6-second cooldown, when it's on cooldown it'll show me the amount of seconds left until it's available. So let's find this guy. I'm going to use Shield Slam, number 3. And it counts down from 6, showing me the time left. Because for certain add-ons, it's sometimes really hard to see when they're on cooldown. And without seeing 2 minutes, I mean, it just helps you manage your cooldowns way easier, just being able to see the actual value of time remaining, as opposed to this like time out rotating thing that you have by default. Is way easier actually getting the hard solid amount of time remaining than it is to just see some faded out stopwatch effect spin round. It's bleh. It's so much nicer having Omni CC enabled. So what's next? OneBank. Well, guess what OneBank does? It makes your bag into one. Guess what OneBank does? It makes your whole bank into one big area. They're both great add-ons. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a clogged up nose. Next we have Aura 2, which is a really good add-on. Again, it's one of the top tier add-ons that I really like. Let's try and bring it out. Oh, I need to left click. Left click, find Aura 2, enable it by left clicking. It shows the cooldowns of everyone else who's using the add-on. Say for example I use Shield Wall. I don't know if it'll use it if I'm solo, but yeah, it won't do in solo. But normally if I'm in a raid, it will show me the cooldown of Shield Wall up there, and it will send everyone else who's using Aura the cooldown timer remaining for my Shield Wall. It'll do things like Innovate, it'll do things like Bloodlust and Heroism. It's a very, very powerful add-on, and it can just make you synergize so much better for your raid. It's very, very powerful. As well as doing other bits and bobs like Mass Invite, and it's basically just like a raid utility add-on. If you're serious about raiding, you will want the features that this add-on supplies you with. Enough said. Next we have Outfitter, which is an amazing add-on. As a warrior tank, I love it. Anyone who has lots of gear that they cycle through, or someone who wants to min-max their character's gear very frequently, you want to have an add-on like Omen that can change your gear in an instant. It's useful for things like Paladins. If you want to get mana quickly, you can click, to go naked, then put on your regular gear and your HP will boom up really quickly, like you'll see mine now, and then a healer can heal you quickly and you'll get the mana replenishment. That's a nice way of min-maxing your character and getting mana quickly, as well as, if I'm in main tank gear, I can go in Dodge 2.0 gear, I can go in Illidan gear, I can go in my Khazra gear, I can go in naked, I can go in my survival threat gear, and it'll just sort itself out and boom, put me into the correct gear set that I have saved. And then the red ones are ones that I don't have the actual items for, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool, it's a really nice add-on, I like it a lot. So let's just go back to MT gear, cool. It's really nice if you go back and forth between PvP and PvE, and obviously if you have the gear you want to change into your PvP gear, or vice versa. Next is Panacea Drums, which is a really good add-on if you're a leatherworker and you have the drums. You can sync with everybody else in your party who's also using the drums, see who's using the drums, have someone go first, and then have you follow. They'll get notified when it's their turn to drum, and you'll get notified as well. Next we have Pitbull, which is the add-on for showing the unit frames, myself, my target's target. This is a confusing add-on once you first have it installed, because the default configuration sucks. I don't know why someone would make an add-on with the default configuration look as bad as it does. Anyway, once you spend 2 hours configuring it, you can have a really nice looking raid interface, but there is a fairly steep learning curve. It's probably one of the hardest add-ons to configure. It takes a lot of time, and if you're new to this kind of configuration, a lot of trial and error, which it took me a very long time if that was the case, which it was. You can make it look, you can have some insanely awesome looking unit frames using Pitbull, but there's just like 100,000 different things that you can configure. It's really, really in-depth of all this just crap that you can just sort out. You can have your portrait on, you can have it look different in different places, different sizes. Do you want to have a big mana bar? What text do you want to see on the mana bar? Do you want to see as a percentage? Do you want to see as exact values? Do you want your health bar to be on the left hand side? Do you want your health bar to be blue? Do you want your health bar to grow upwards? Do you want your health bar to be on the left hand side of your portrait and have your portrait in the middle? Do you want to have your name shown? I can just disable my name and not have it displayed, because I know who I am. I've got my raid displayed as just a pure value here, instead of having it displayed by the target as 1 out of max. Whatever. It's very, very customizable is the point I'm trying to get across, I suppose. Next we have Power Auras, which basically tracks your trinkets and buffs and stuff, and procs. It's a really cool add-on, however I prefer just to use my my buff add-on here, Citrina buff frames, to configure that stuff, but Power Auras is really nice as well. A lot of people swear by Power Auras, so maybe you do as well. Install it, play with it, and see if you like it, and that's my advice. Pratt, that's the chat add-on I use. You can do things like type google.com in chat, and if someone does type a URL, you can just click on it, you see it up here, copy it, and then paste it. You can also right click on their name, type copy chat, you see the chat, copy it, and you can quote somebody like that. That's dope. And a load of other things, blah blah blah. It's a chat add-on, it's fairly versatile. Chatter is also another add-on you could try. Next we have Quartz, which is the cast bar add-on. So if I go to /Quartz and go to player and actually enable my casting bar, I can go to this guy. Actually, I don't need a guy. Okay, well let's go here and cast some slams. So there's my cast bar for slam. Yes, I'm a protection warrior casting slam. It's for demonstration purposes only, I swear. So you can see the cast bar, and if I target myself, I can also see my own slam. But I have to target the target first to actually do the slam. Let's do this a bit better. So if am I wearing dodge gear? No. Let's see if I can get a Hearthstone off. Probably not, because he's going to attack me. Yeah, but you can see that there's a cast bar there. If I target myself, you can also see the target cast bar. I have my target cast bar very big and very much so in the centre of the screen, because it's often a matter of life and death. Things like Deaden in Reliquary of Souls, Flame Crash and Shear from Illidan, and obviously in a PvP aspect you want to know exactly when someone starts casting a nasty spell so you can reflect it or interrupt it or otherwise. Next we have Quest Helper, which is like a baby version of Carbonite in my opinion. Quest Helper is just so ugly and just shows a load of stuff. I mean, it is useful, and if it's an add-on that you're used to, you can read the data much more easily. but for me, Carbonite counters Quest Helper really hard. Next we have Raid Buff Status, which is a really cool add-on. I love it so much. It basically brings up an interface on the, well, wherever in the center of your screen I think is the default position. Just drag it away. It shows you all the different buffs that people have in the raid, or rather the buffs that they don't have in the raid. It will show you the player who is missing, you know, Powered, Fortitude and Mark of the Wild. You can shift click the icon and it will whisper the buffers. So it'll whisper all of the priests who don't, or all of the priests rather who haven't buffed Shadowwood Fortitude on the player, and whisper them the player's name and what group they're in to buff. It will tell you things like who's out of the raid zone, who's not full mana, who's missing elixirs, who's missing food buff, etc. It's a very good add-on. Let's go on to the next add-on, which is Raiting Buster. Oh my god, I love this add-on, it's so good. So if I go to an item with, say, hit rating on, this sword has 15 hit rating. What's that as an actual percentage value hit I get? I get 0.95% hit. That's really useful. The same for things like dodge. I have 27 dodge on the gloves, and that equates to 1.43 actual dodge chance. That's really useful information. And you can see that it shows it for, you know, my agility, enchant, my gem, my defense, my shield block rating. That actually gives me 3.42% block chance. Wow, that's dope. It's a really useful add-on, and it actually looks at your talents and adds those as well, which is really useful. Next we have Recount, which is an add-on that I don't have on at the moment. Basically it does the same thing as this DPS Mate add-on, except I'm just trying DPS Mate out, and I think I'm liking DPS Mate more for the moment. There's also this Recount Impulse Watchdog, which basically just tracks different consumables. So you can see if people are actually using their health stones without having to really dig into the actual healing done and find specifically when Healthstone healed somebody. You can see if they're using well fed, if they're using scrolls, if they can, basically what extra buffs they're using and what consumables they have on. If I just reload the UI quickly, I'll be able to show you. Where is Recount? / Recount show. So here's Recount somewhere. So if I go here to consumables, no one uses consumables. So if I go to overall data, oh wow, no one's using consumables. Maybe it's not tracking it properly, or what. But anyway, here's Recount. It looks nicer. Like the data's presented in a much cleaner fashion, whereas DPS Mate looks uglier. Like the font is a bit weird. Like I don't like the white background. I've not been able to get rid of, but the data that DPS Mate collects is way easier to see here. But yeah, they essentially do the same thing. But tell you what, DPS Mate does like slow down my frame rate when I'm dragging it from side to side. Flip and heck. I hope that the recording sounds okay with me making my frame rate drop to like 1. Okay, so what add-on do we have next? Go down to where were we? Citrina buff frames. Man, I love this add-on. So SBF options is the / command. We have the little config menu here. So I have my debuffs. They stack from the center to the right, really close to the center of the screen, because I really want to see what debuffs I have, and when I have them I need to know exactly when I get certain debuffs, and this facilitates that, as well as it just shows all my buffs on the top. You can add other things like filters. You can add specific procs or buffs. You can do things like, what I used to have was my shouts would be shown on the left, so I could always see them. So where were we? We had done Recount. We've done Aura, we've done Pitbull. Next was Scrolling Battle Text, SBF options, which is an add-on that I get asked about fairly often. So that is an add-on that shows you me joining combat, me dealing damage, getting crits and dodging. It should also tell me if I get some procs. I got Blood Rage, I got a commanding shout. That's the Trina buff frame telling me I've got a debuff, and I'm stood in it. I can move, and the debuff goes away. Stand in it, and the debuff comes back. If I use a trinket, I get Protectors of Vigor, and that's scrolling battle text. It's a nice add-on. It also shows me when I get healed, the icon of what spell I was healed from. The same goes for if I use a ability like Devastate, I can see the icon, so it's really nice to be able to see what my spells are actually doing, rather than just seeing numbers, because it's all very nice seeing numbers fly everywhere, but it's much nicer to see that my Devastate did 177 damage, and it wasn't my auto swing doing 167 damage. Do you know what I mean? It's cool, just having the seeing the difference between the different spells more clearly than just numbers. Next we have Shared Media, which basically has a load of different fonts and textures, so if you're wanting to configure your add-ons, you can configure them with more options included in Shared Media. We have Simple Minimap, which is the Minimap add-on I'm using. Next we have Skinner. This is a cool add-on that I have to let people know about when they ask me, like, how do I get my character menu looking black? Why does my action bar look different? What add-on am I using? And it's the default action bar. I'm just using Skinner, and by default, you don't have to work very hard with Skinner. It just gets rid of the dragon texture that's just thrown on top of here, and replaces it with just a black rectangle stretched out at the bottom, which I think looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer, really. And you can just select a texture that's just black, and it just replaces a load of stuff here, which is cool, and I think it just makes it look a lot cooler. So you saw for a second then it showed the default texture, and then just boom, loads in the black one. Can I do it again with Spellbook? No, it's already loaded in. Anyway, it just looks cool now, I think. And that's Skinner. You can also maybe increase performance ever so slightly. If you're rocking a really bad computer, you can get rid of all the game textures and replace them with simpler ones. Next we have SLData Text here. So in the bottom right hand corner, it shows me my mail, the time. I have the font as big as it goes on the time, because I really like being able to see what the time is. My frame rate, the latency, and the add-on resources. And that's SLData Text. There's a few other things like coordinates and armor repair and whatever. Next we have Solarian Alarm, which is a add-on for if you're progressing on Solarian. It's nice to have enabled because it flashes in like big blue colour all over your screen whenever you get the debuff, but I prefer just to have, like I showed you a moment ago, Trina buff frames configured so I can see debuffs really clearly in the centre of my screen. Solarian Alarm is an add-on specifically for the debuff in the Solarian encounter where you run out of the raid. Next we have Spam Throttle, which is a godlike add-on. A lot of the private servers I've been playing on have been spammed so much with gold sellers in the last couple of months, and Spam Filter gets rid of so much of the spam. It's really nice. You may want to play around with the filtering options and the configuration a little bit, just so you can get it how you like it, but it's really freaking good. I mean, oh my god. Gold sellers have been a real plague in the last couple of months or so, and Spam Throttle, marvellous. Thank you, sir, for providing this add-on. Super Macro, it gives you more functionality out of the macro system in WoW. I don't have it enabled because it broke a few of my macros and you have to redo them in the special format for Super Macro, and I couldn't be bothered to do that. And the only reason I wanted it is because it gives you more than the standard 255 character limit of the macros, but I'd live without having super long macros, which essentially for me Super Macro is basically super long macros, but it breaks all my other macros, which isn't worth it, and I can't be bothered to go through them all again. Tank Points is a cool add-on. I use it mainly for looking at effective health and stuff, but it can also give you a scoring system for what items could be upgrades and when, and you can change the values and, you know, the weights of different things. Like if you wanted dodge to be worth more, you can change it here and what have you. It's a cool add-on just to see what's going on and to make sure your character's progressing in the direction that you want it to. Bring back ACP. We have Tip Tack, which is an add-on for showing the tooltip basically. So if I hover over my character, I can see my name, my guild, my level, my race, my class, my talents and my health. There's a few other things that you can have enabled on there, and you can change the colour and all sorts and just configure the tooltip how you like, and the hovering over of stuff. It's cool. Would recommend, and you can see the options and the talents enabled there. Oh, let me just kill this bug. Next we have Xpearl, which is a unit frame add-on similar to Pitbull. I don't use it because it's not as customizable and I don't think it looks nearly as nice, but its default configuration is way better than Pitbull. That's the only thing going for it really. Next we have Zygle guides, which are godlike. This is a godlike status add-on if you're leveling. It's basically the best add-on for leveling that I've ever seen, ever. You see my swing timer coming through. So say for example you've just gone through the dark portal and it'll say, you know, pick up the quest here, talk to the NPC here, fly to Thrallmar, from Thrallmar hand in your quest, pick up these 3 more quests, do the first quest here, then do the second quest here, pick up the chain quest here, do the next quest here, pick up the chain quest here, do the next quest here, pick up the chain quest here, do this quest here, then run back to Thrallmar, hand in 20 quests all at once, ding 3 times, and pick up some more quests, go to the next zone, hand in those quests, and it just tells you pretty much the best route for doing quests as efficiently as possible. Like, there's no way that you can know without doing prior research and spending hours and hours the best route to do which quests and which quests to ignore as well. There are some quests which are just pointless and they're the add-on never tells you to do them, or even sometimes explicitly tells you to skip them. It's really, really good. I cannot speak highly enough of the Zygle leveling guide add-ons. Oh look, we've got some Blizzard add-ons. Okay, they're all here by default. And then we have the Lib Ace 2 and Ace 3. These are frameworks for helping add-ons function properly. I'd recommend just enabling both of them because certain add-ons require them. And then we have Threat 2.0, which basically, I think, I've not tested it, but I think it fixed my Omen, because on the server I'm playing on now, Archangel, there's kind of like a rumour going around that the spam filter that they use means that certain data can't go from person to person, and my theory is that my character data isn't being sent through the server properly. At least for Omen it wasn't, because I wasn't showing up on anybody else's Omen in the game. But since having Threat 2.0 framework enabled, my data from Omen is correctly being sent to other people's Omen. So now, as a tank, which is pretty important, they can see me on Omen, which is, you know, like I say, really important. And yeah, it's nice. It's a good add-on. I recommend. So that's it. I've gone through my add-ons. If there are any add-ons that you think I should know about, please let me know in the comments. And if there are any add-ons that you want me to cover in more detail, please let me know as well, and I'll cover them in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!